Hello, hello. Welcome back to Two Girls, One Cut. However, this week it is again one girl, one cut, and Tracy.
And me.
Um, I was on assignment last week. This week, Abigail has decided to go on assignment. Only fair, I suppose.
That's a fun, fancy word for not going to be here.
Exactly, yes. You can find us on Facebook, on our Nighthawk Radio Facebook page. You can also find us at nighthawk-radio.com. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube Music, the Ohio Blitz. We will be starting with the Ohio Blitz September 27th, live streaming the games. Is that right,
Yep,
Tracy?
that's right. Yep.
And then you can also tune in every Friday at 8 um, to watch Jimmy Haunted. He's doing Flashback Fridays until October 3rd. October 3rd, he'll be coming out with some new stuff.
New stuff. And from every Friday of the month from then on will be new stuff.
All new stuff.
So, with that,
And you can tune
we
in with us every Thursday at 7.
7 p.m. Correct.
Yes. This week we're going to talk about the Freeway Killer. I guess it's one of the freeway killers anyway.
Right.
There's a couple different ones with the same nickname. This one specifically, though, his name is William Bonin. He also goes by the Freeway Strangler. He was convicted of 14 murders. He confessed to 21, and he's suspected of even more than that. He was an American serial killer and sex offender who raped, tortured, and murdered young boys, young men, between 1979 and 1980.
And
He
you think
was,
about that. There was 14
yeah, that he was
in
actually convicted of.
in a year.
Yeah,
So that's one plus one a month.
yeah, yeah. I think it was 13 months altogether.
Yeah.
So May of 79 to June of 80.
So there was 1 month where I guess he got bored and decided to do two.
I guess so. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but well, that he was convicted of. So
That
if
he was
you
convicted
consider
of.
the
Yes.
20 some, um, there were multiple. This guy had no cooling off period.
No, no, not at all. And really, he wasn't afraid to be arrested because he had been
No,
arrested many of times
multiple
before that.
times.
Yeah.
Starting when he was this. I mean, this started when he was young.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was born January 8th, 1947, in Willimantic, Connecticut. He was the middle of three sons, so he is the middle child. Both of his parents were pretty bad alcoholics. His dad was very um, ill-tempered. His dad was a World War II veteran, and he, I think from that he kind of brought home the anger, and he would physically abuse his wife and his children. And um, the wife, William's mother, she struggled a lot mentally, and I think that's kind of what turned her to alcohol. So she
Yeah,
kind of joined in with the dad. They were both alcoholics. Dad was very abusive. Um, the mom had severe mood swings. I think they kind of speculate now it was probably bipolar disorder.
yeah,
And she would often go to the bingo hall, and she would leave the three boys unattended. And they were pretty young. I would say no older than the oldest probably wasn't any older than 7 or 8, and then you also have the two younger boys. And then January of 1950, his dad was a big gambler, and he ended up gambling away their home. He lost their home by gambling.
Man.
They had to move in with grandparents, so the mom's parents. Um, and the grandparents, they were pretty big into church. Um, they were raised Catholic, kind of from that point. They were
Right.
active in their church. They were baptized, all the things. And then they ended up going to the St. Mary's Catholic School. Um, and during this time, William Bonin, he was accused of being aggressive. Um, he had quite a bit of truancy. He didn't like to go to school, and I'm assuming parents didn't make him go to school.
Yeah, it was a totally different time.
Yep, yep. And he misbehaved quite a bit. And so he was placed in a juvenile home after he ran over a group of girls on his bicycle. And I guess he was even more uncooperative after coming home from that. And then in September 1953, um, Bonin and his older brother, Paul, they were sent to Franco-American school in Catholic. It was a Catholic convent. So kind of like it sounds to me kind of like a boarding school in
Right. Yeah, that me
Massachusetts.
too. Yeah.
hmm And they were disciplined pretty harshly there. It said that the boys were molested by the priest. And then the nuns, they would force them to do physical activity or even do things that would hurt themselves as their punishment. Um, Bonin, he says that they would force him to punch um,
Was it a fence?
fence. Yes, a
Yeah.
fence.
Yeah. See, I remember reading something about that.
Yes, and so that was his punishment.
Hey,
Um,
nuns can be mean.
I know, right? It scared me. Um, and then also while he was there, he was sexually abused by some of the older boys that were there. And you've got to think he was only 8 years old at this point.
Right. Right.
Um, so just completely heartbreaking. But I guess also all of the other boys, they didn't really know any better either because that's what they were taught from the priest. The priest was assaulting them.
And you think about, I mean, you had been sent to this place as an 8-year-old.
hmm
Um, you probably have little to no contact with your parents. So you're there by yourself. Nuns are making you punch fences and stuff like that. And I mean, to me, there's just no release of well, there may be too much release of aggression versus you know somebody's patting you on the back saying, "Hey, man, good job."
No nurturing, no
No,
um no, I guess recognition for the good things that you're doing.
right. It's
You
just
only um
you just get known for the bad.
yeah, exactly.
So this guy is, as most serial killers, is starting out behind the eight ball.
Yes. So while the two boys were there, the parents never came to visit, never called, nothing. I'm sure they had phones back then, right?
Yes,
Does this show how young I am?
they they had phones in the 50s.
They
Yes.
had phones in the 50s. Um, but yeah, so I guess whenever I'm so sorry, I got a kitten, and this kitten just wants to be right up on top of me at all times. So if
Well,
you're watching instead of listening, you might see the
hear a
cat.
little
You
jingling
might hear
link.
the little jingle of the bell. Um, so whenever these older boys would assault him, he would ask them to um, bind his feet and his hands because he says that made him feel more secure and less frightened. Just think
Oh,
about that. How awful is that? that this child is so used to being sexually assaulted that he's asking, can
It's
you,
just another day.
yeah, yeah. And you're not doing it right. I need you to bind my hands behind my back and tie my feet together. You know, morbid.
Well, we see where it's going.
Yes, yes. So, May of 1955, he returns home to live with his parents. Um, and at this point, the parents, I guess the maternal grandparents had a house that they gave to his parents. So that's where mom and dad and the youngest brother were living at the time. So they come back home and they move back in with them. Um, Around this time, Bonin started the elementary school nearby, and the kids would call him Bugsy Bonin. Um, so he got picked on a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
Hmm. And there were some neighbors that were pretty worried because the children, they were always pretty unkempt. Um, they were often hungry, so the
Mhm.
neighbors would feed the kids. They would give them clean clothes. Um, and then eventually the mother would leave her children, all three boys, with her father, which would be their grandfather. And he was a known child molester, and he actually sexually abused her when she was a child. But here she is
Kid.
leaving her children
So,
with him,
what are you thinking?
right?
But um, if she was okay with it, though, I mean, it's apparently she whatever she wanted to do was more important than
Was more
those.
important,
You know,
yes. I would say that it probably overshadowed the worry of what might happen to her children. It was more, I have places to be, I have things to do, and I can't take these children, so this is my only option. So, obviously, the boys were sexually abused by the grandfather as well.
surprise.
Right. And then Bonin, he kind of went on to get into a little bit of trouble. He started getting into some petty crimes. He would steal hubcaps and license plates and tags off of various vehicles around them, and he ended up being placed in a juvenile detention center. And while he was there at juvie, he was molested repeatedly by an adult counselor.
Good grief!
I
What I mean,
know. It's like there's
everywhere.
no wonder he turned out the way that he
Yeah, I
did.
mean, everywhere he goes. I mean,
Mhm. He's being sexually assaulted by men.
yeah, yeah. So, wow. Mm.
So after he was released from the juvie center, he started assaulting his little brother. So this is kind of where things started for him. Um, and
So it
he
went from grandpa to mom, now from grandpa to kids,
Mhm.
now from brother to brother.
Yep.
Damn,
So
what kind of
I guess
screwed up life was that?
I know. I guess the little brother ended up telling mom, and so mom ended up making them sleep in separate rooms from then on after.
So that was the punishment. You
That
ain't
was
got access to your brother no more.
that's
What the
right, pretty
hell?
much. Yep.
You should
So
have
in,
killed this guy when he was
I'm
9.
telling you, yeah. So 1959, he starts middle school. And he did pretty well in math and science, but otherwise he got pretty mediocre grades. He didn't
Yeah.
do very well in school otherwise. And then 1962, the family moved to Torrance, California, and he attended North High School there in Torrance. He was pretty socially awkward. He was a social outcast. Um, in high school. He was pretty uncomfortable around peers, and he didn't really develop any friendships whatsoever throughout his
He was
adolescence.
afraid they would molest him. Good
Right?
grief.
I guarantee it.
Man,
And as a teenager, he didn't really ever interact with girls. Now he did end up dating a girl. Her name was Linda, and that was more to please his mother. His mother, kind of, I think, not really forced him into it, but definitely persuaded. She's like, you've never dated a girl. You're never with women,
so
And
she
I'm
kind of
sure she
seen,
probably
yeah.
she probably also made some crude comments that made him think, "Well, I'll show you. I'm not
Well,
homosexual, or I'm not
I was gonna say
this
at this
way."
point, it sounds like she saw the male attraction,
Mhm.
and of course, we're talking the '60s. That
Yes.
was, still pretty no, 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 no.
Yes.
And so she may, yeah, I could see her pushing him towards that way. Yeah.
Yes. So he starts dating Linda. Um, he gets engaged to Linda, and before they are able to get married, he decides that he's going to join the US Air Force. And so also, before this, I think it was like kind of around the time that he started dating Linda, he dropped out of high school and he began molesting some of the neighborhood children. And his mother, she didn't really want to acknowledge the fact that he was, doing something wrong. But eventually she said, I'm going to pray for you. You really need to figure life out. This isn't how you should be. And she kind of warned him, like, you're going to end up going to jail. You're going to get arrested.
Right. Yeah.
And so eventually she said, I've had enough. And she kicked him out. So, like I said, this is around the same time that he got engaged to Linda. And he decides, well, I don't really have anywhere else to go. So he decides to join the Air Force. And so in the Air Force, he served as a cook in Alaska for 4 months. And while he was there in Alaska, he got arrested for theft, and the charges ended up getting dropped because he got served for active duty. They said you need to head over to Vietnam.
You
So
about to get shot at, buddy.
that's exactly right. So that's pretty much what happened there. He got deployed to Vietnam, and he served 5 months active duty. He was an aerial gunner, and he logged over 700 hours of combat and patrol time.
Wow.
So, yeah, I thought that was pretty good. And he
Well, what better
also,
place for a killer to go?
not the truth, he also received a Medal of Recognition, um, because there were plenty of times that he put himself in harm's way to protect, his other soldiers that were there with him. So he actually received quite a few different medals. Um, and according to Bonin, he says that he had sexual relations with 4 different women while he was in Vietnam and Hong Kong as well. Um, as well as plenty of homosexual experiences while he was over there as well.
That's a part of Vietnam you don't normally see in the '60s.
Right, right. But he also sexually assaulted 2 soldiers at gunpoint while he was there as well. So that was kind of the probably the first, I would say, adult interaction that he had,
Okay.
as
Yeah.
far as forcing somebody
At gunpoint. I
at
mean,
gunpoint.
to me,
Yes.
that's Section 8. You're
Mm,
gone.
yeah. So he was honorably discharged in October of 1968. Um, he was 21 years old. When he got home, he found out that his fiancee, Linda, had actually given birth to their child. as well as getting married to another man while he was
Oh,
gone.
well,
Yeah. There goes that first female experience, huh?
yeah,
The
yeah.
first girlfriend. That's kinda
Didn't
how
work
that
out too
went.
good, did it?
Yeah, not very well.
I know whose this one's is, but who does that one belong to?
Right?
Wow.
So, he didn't really have anywhere to go whenever he got home, so he went back home to, his good old parents' house. He worked as a gas station attendant, and then this is around the time that he started picking up hitchhikers and, kinda got into, I guess, his new, what do they call it, operandi?
A modus operandi. Yeah.
Yes, yes, modus operandi. So, November 1968, he picks up a 14-year-old boy named Billy Jones in Arcadia, California, and he offered to drive him home. And Bonin kinda he hounded him with questions, asking him, "Have you ever been with a man? Are you gay? Do you like girls?" And I guess this kind of freaked the boy out, and he tried to get away. He tried to get out of the car. He's like, "I'm not interested. I think I'll just walk."
Good
So
call.
at this point, Bonin, he handcuffed him, and then he knocked him unconscious, and he raped him, and then he dropped him off at a park and left him.
Now, is that
So,
the one that he told him, "You're lucky I was going to kill you"?
nope, not that one.
Nope. This is okay. I
Yep.
didn't mean to let the cat out of the bag then.
There were plenty more. Um, so then the boy, he ended up reporting it, to his parents, and the parents, went to police. And then November 26th. So just keep in mind the first one was November 17th. The second one was November 26th. So literally, what, 9 days later,
9 days. Yeah.
he's picking up another boy. He was 17. He was a hitchhiker. His name was John Treadwell.
And again, hitchhikers. We talk about how they're easy prey. I mean,
Mhm.
hitchhikers and prostitutes.
Yep.
Those are the number one prey.
Yep. So his prey were hitchhikers and prostitutes, which I don't think that there were a whole lot of male prostitutes in California in the 60s, but there were some. Like, it was very
Sure.
few and far
Yeah.
between, but there were some. And then there were a lot of just schoolboys, just boys walking home from school or walking to school or to
Yeah. I mean,
extracurricular activities.
and it wasn't uncommon for back then, um,
Right.
for to pull up and say, "Hey, man, you need a ride."
Yeah. I'm heading that way. I can
You
take
know,
you.
I mean, I'm not that old, but even in my time, I remember, walking down the road when we were kids, and somebody would be like, "Hey, man, you want to ride?" You know how many times we got into a car and
Didn't know them from
you know,
Adam.
no, and they'd
Yeah.
give us a ride, and be me and my brother, and usually somebody else, or two or three of us, and it's like, yeah, man. There, a lot of times they say jump in the back of the truck. We jump in the back of the
Yeah.
truck, and we'd get a ride. And
Yeah.
but times are so much different now. If anybody would pull up to somebody walking that they didn't know and say, "Hey, man, you want to ride?" Lord, them people would take off running.
Right. That's
It's,
how it is nowadays
I
too. Like,
know.
you
Yeah.
can't trust anybody.
No.
So the second boy that he picks up, his name's John. He ends up raping him and bludgeoning him with a tire iron. And he threatened that he would come after him if he ever told anybody. Then December 4th, so just a little over a week later, he picks up 17-year-old Alan Pruitt. He handcuffs him, sexually assaults him, and then January 1st, he offers 12-year-old boy Lawrence Bretman a ride home, and he forced him to perform um, oral sex on him. And then he molested him and he robbed him at gunpoint. And then he also threatened him he threatened to kill him if he told anybody. And then January 12th, he picks up 18-year-old hitchhiker Jesus Mong. He offered him $20 to perform oral sex. And so this guy tries to escape the vehicle, but he was physically and sexually assaulted. And so at this point, if, law enforcement, they kind of realize like we have a serial
Rapist,
rapist
pretty much. Yeah.
on the loose. And so they kind of got all the information from all of these boys as to what this guy looks like and what does he drive, that kind of thing. And so they kind of knew a little bit of who they were looking for. So January 28th, the police pulls over Bonin driving his car, and he actually has a 16-year-old boy with him at the time that he was pulled over. And this boy was frightened. He was scared, and he felt like something bad was getting ready to happen to him. Um, and so Bonin was kind of frantic, and he also just fit the description, so they arrested him. And so at this point, he was indicted on 5 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of sodomy, 1 count of oral copulation, and then 1 count of child molestation. So March 1969, he was determined. It was determined that he was a sexual psychopath. Bingo. Who would
I
have
say,
guessed?
yeah, well, gave it away.
Right. Um, and so I guess they were, kind of doing a psych eval, trying to figure out why he is the way that he is and what's wrong with this guy. And so he confesses that he had been molested himself between the ages of 8 and 12. Um, so he ends up pleading guilty, and he was sentenced to the Atascadero, I think that's how you say it. I don't know, state hospital. So he ended up being able to
That
go
is in
to,
California. Yes.
yes,
That is
yes.
where Ed Kemper ended up going when he was a,
Okay,
yeah. I'm pretty sure that's where
interesting.
he ended up at.
Wow, okay. So it was like a mental hospital.
For I think it was for mostly underage people, but sounds like to me he was above the age now. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, so yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
he was
sure that's where
probably
Ed Kemper
22,
was at.
23. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And they said that he was a mental disordered sex offender. Who would have thought? Who would have thought it?
Which today, I mean, those charges would have put him away for life
Oh
today.
yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So then, so he was arrested in 1968, 1971. He is sent to a California, it's called California Medical Center. And this was after this state hospital decided that there was nothing else that they could do for him. He was unsuitable for the treatment that they had because he would repeatedly sexually abuse the mentally challenged inmates. So they said,
Golly.
yeah, right. They said, "Get you out of here. We don't want it." And then in 1974, he was eventually released from prison. So he literally only served about 5 years. Whereas
And
you said today you would literally get put away for life.
yeah, and I mean, they let him go knowing that he was not only a sexual predator, but he also preyed on the mentally challenged.
Yeah.
But okay, it's a great idea. Let's turn this guy loose.
Yeah. Why not? It's been 5 years. Surely he's learned his lesson.
Surely. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he ends up renting an apartment in LA after he was released from his 5 year stay in the hospital.
Yeah, that's the best
Um,
way to put it. Yeah.
right, his 5 year stay. I guess in LA, there the gay community was kind of up and coming,
Well,
so
sure. Yeah.
he thought, LA, surely I'll find my people.
It was
Um,
sex, drugs, rock and roll. I mean,
that's
that's
right.
kind of how it was back then.
Yeah,
It was the summer of love and all
yeah.
that stuff.
But that did not last very long because he kind of really lacked in his social skills. So he decides, well, I guess I'll move back in with my parents again. That's always it's always an option, I guess. And apparently the parents were fine with it because they always took him back. Um,
Yeah.
so then while he is with his parents, he he works multiple different jobs. He works as a bartender. That didn't last very long. I think maybe a couple of months. And then he works as a truck driver for a delivery company. And he was fired for that because I guess he wrecked one of their trailers. And then he decides, well, maybe jobs just aren't for me. I need to just go back to school. So he goes to a community college, and he only finishes 2 semesters before dropping out of that. During this time, he continues to pick up hitchhikers for sex. Um, Now, around this time, though, he did establish a relationship with a married mother. Um, I know I don't really know any more about that other than the fact that she was married and she had children. So I don't know if maybe her and the husband
Yeah.
had a falling out or she was
Maybe he
just
was
cheating on
trying
the
to
husband.
reinvent himself, maybe.
Maybe, right? He's like, well, this me being with men is obviously not working out. Let me go back to trying with women.
Yeah.
So, September 8th, 1975, he picks up David McVicker. He's a hitchhiker, and he forces him under gunpoint to undress, and then he beats and he rapes him, and he starts to strangle him with his t shirt and a tire iron. And I guess this boy, he starts pleading for his life. Um, and it triggered something in him, and he felt bad, and he apologized. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what's come over me. Let me just drive you home now." So he does. He ends up taking him home, and he tells him, "You know what? You're a pretty good boy." And he says to him, "I was going to kill you, but I want to come back and use you again."
Yeah. That's
So
the
that's
guy I
the
was
one that you
thinking
were
of. Yeah.
talking about earlier.
I mean, think about that. That's the stuff nightmares are made of.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not done with you. I'll be back.
I'll be back for you.
No.
I'm gonna use you again.
Wow. You'd be
Mhm.
afraid to walk down the street?
Right.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
sure
know
that
how
boy's
old
probably
this guy.
traumatized. Yeah, he
Yeah, I
was
don't know how old
traumatized for
this
the
guy
rest of
was,
his
but if
life.
he was a,
He was
young,
14.
so
14 years
I
old.
mean, yeah, I could see where that would be. You know, I'd kind of like to know what happened to him in life.
Right. Where did he go? Where did he end
Yeah,
up? Yeah.
yeah,
Did that end up taking over him? And, I feel like a lot of people that have certain traumatic things happening in their life, if they don't have a good support system, they might turn to drugs or to
sure.
alcohol or, you
Or they
know,
go the opposite way, and he becomes a shooting instructor.
yeah, yeah,
Something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting. Because I mean, at 14, and this guy done had you pretty much where he wanted you,
Mhm.
and could have killed you at any time. And
Literally was in the midst of strangling you.
yeah, and then just says, "No, I'll just save you for later."
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back to use you again.
Hmm. Wow.
So then October 11th, 1975, he was arrested for 2 assaults. I'm assuming one was the boy, um, and he was charged with rape and forcible oral copulation.
Again.
Again, December 31st, 1975, he pled guilty and he served time at the California Men's Facility. And he was released less than a year later, October of the following year. He was released and he was released with 18 months probation.
So if he would have been convicted and spent the rest of his life in prison, there's how many going to survive?
At least 14.
So at least
Yeah.
14 were killed to me by the state of California.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I do. I agree. Because they had him right where they wanted him. You know,
And,
they could have put him away for life.
how many times have we seen it that these guys get a slap on the wrist? And for brutal stuff, brutal. It's not like, you punched a guy or something like
Right.
that. You were raping and killing,
Mhm.
and I see it coming with the events that have happened here in the past few days. People are getting tired of these judges
Yeah.
just slapping people on the wrist, and something else happens to somebody else. They either get killed or they get raped or they get, it's time that some of these judges, you know, have to face what they've done.
Right. Also, you kind of wonder, oh, they were boys. That's disgusting. It probably makes them uncomfortable to think about, a man raping boys and um, also thinking, "Well, these boys, they're tough. They can handle this. Like, move on." You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
just feel like they probably didn't have as much sympathy for boys or young men.
No, but this is the second set
Yeah,
of
yeah.
charges.
The second time
In
that he's
the
been caught
first
for
time,
something like
maybe,
this.
hey, yeah,
Yeah,
fall through the crack. Okay, yeah,
yeah.
I get it. But if this is the second time it's happened, you should never walk the streets again.
No, no, never. 'Cause like you
So
said, at that point, that's on the state of California.
that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
So, like I said, he was released in October '76. Um, he goes on to live his life for the next couple years, picking up hitchhikers, paying male prostitutes. November of '78, he ends up getting an apartment at Kingswood Village Complex, and he has a neighbor. His name is Everett Fraser, and he's 43 years old. Everett has parties often, and Everett was also a homosexual.
Accomplice number one.
Right. No, actually, it's not. Actually, it's
No.
not.
Okay.
But he does end up meeting Vernon Butts. At this point, he's 21 years old, and he meets Gregory Miley. He's 18 years old at
I
these
don't mean
parties.
for that to be funny.
I know, Tracy. We're trying to move on.
I'm
I
sorry.
can't help it. That's his
I'm sorry.
name. That's his
Well,
name.
I mean, it's not like the guy's just killing them.
I know, I know. They were
No,
all
it's
homosexuals.
really not funny, but
And
my
his
mind,
name
it
is
just,
Mr. Butts. It's
of
spelled the same.
course
It's
it
spelled
is.
that way too. Butts.
Oh, no, stop, man. Just when I had it
So
all together.
I know. So anyway, these boys, they were pretty troubled boys. Gregory Miley, I think they said his IQ was like 54.
Oh, wow. So it's down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Vernon, Mr. Butts, he didn't have a very good, home life, childhood.
Yeah.
And so Bonin, he kinda Bonin you got Bonin and you got
And butts.
Butts.
Dear Lord, where's it? Listen, I don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. It's synchronicity. It has to be.
So anywho, they become sexual with each other, along, all three of the guys. Now, I don't know if it was all three at the same time, but I know Bonin has
I'm
a
betting that
relationship.
is.
He has a relationship with both of the men. Um, so around this time, he also ends up buying a Ford Econoline van. So he drives this, I think it's like a white van.
I think it
It
was like
looks white, like
a
beige.
almost yeah, it's a cream. Yeah,
Yeah, like a cream color. Yeah, from the pictures that I've seen. It almost looks like it's white, but it's dirty.
yeah,
Um, and he's able to afford that because he's working with his older brother at the time as a plumber. So he's got these new friends. He's never had friends, you know? So he ends up hanging out with these guys, and he picks up young hitchhikers, or prostitutes or schoolboys or, whatever, along various freeways in California. The victims were all between the ages of 12 and 19. He would either entice them to come in, or he would force them to come into his van. And then once they were in, he would bind their limbs with handcuffs, wire, or cords, and he would sexually assault them. He would extensively beat them, and he would even torture some. And then he would kill them by strangulation. Um, he would strangle them with their t-shirt and a tire iron. I'm assuming like a tourniquet
yeah.
is
I
what
would
I'm,
say yeah.
I'm thinking in my mind. He also removed all of the door handles inside of the van, other than the driver's side door handle. So if you got in, you weren't able to get out.
No good now. Yeah,
He would also hide various different weapons, tools inside of the van. He would hide, knives, pliers, wire hangers. Um, he would use a lot of these items to um, sodomize these boys.
yeah. The young kids. Yeah,
Yep. Um, and so he would typically kill the victims inside of the van, and then he would drive them miles and miles away and dump their body along different freeways to, I guess, to kind of try to throw authorities off. They didn't really want them to know that they were where they were picked up, and
right. Yeah.
just kind of trying to throw them off a little bit. He, around this time, he's still dating his married girlfriend. Um, Sundays he reserved just for the girlfriend and her kids. So
So
Sundays
he's
they
got
would,
morals.
yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
So Sundays they'd take trips to Anaheim, California, and just do, I guess, fun things with her and her children. But Fridays and Saturdays, those were for cruising the freeways. That's when he committed most of his crimes, were Fridays and Saturdays. Not Sunday though. So
Well,
then,
you know, that's the
right?
Lord's day.
Um, Out of the 14 murders, authorities are thinking that there was a minimum of 12 murders that Bonin had accomplices for. So the first accomplice that they're thinking was Vernon Butts. Um, he's suspected of accompanying and or assisting at least 9 of the murders. So he helped him with more than anybody else. Um, he would also make scrapbooks of all of the newspaper clippings of all of the murders. And I guess his coworkers would say that he seemed really obsessed with all of these cases, all of these bodies that were found.
Well, yeah, it's like reliving it.
Right? Now, they didn't know at the time, but they were like what's your fascination?
Right,
And he would drive every day. He would make daily trips to Orange County to buy newspapers because he wanted to make sure he wasn't missing anything. If it
right.
was in the newspaper about him, he wanted it. So, eventually he was caught June 11th. He he was driving around trying to pick up boys, and he attempted 5 different times. He was unsuccessful,
Hit
and
the
then
dry spot.
finally, yep, finally, the 6th time he succeeds. He is able to lure a boy into his van, and the police, I think they're kind of starting to pick up after, him trying to lure a couple boys in the van. It's like, hey, this guy looks a little bit suspicious. So they start
Yeah.
watching him. He doesn't know that they're watching. So eventually they see him pick up this 6th boy that he's drove up to. And I guess, Bonin, he drives to this service station and he pulls over. So the police, they're discreet. They pull up behind him, and Bonin doesn't even realize. And they kind of sneak up to the van, and they can hear inside the van some screams and some loud thuds. And so they, the police, they're able to force their way inside of the van, and Bonin is in the midst of raping the 17-year-old boy. Um, and so they end up arresting him. Um, so I guess from there, they're able to kind of link him to all of these other murders that were
Right.
going on. They're able to find different, I guess not DNA, but different blood samples inside of the van. They find all of these various tools and things that he's used on all of these victims. And so he ends up getting convicted of 14 murders, and he's sentenced to death. And fun fact, while he was on death row, he actually became good friends with Lawrence Bittaker and Randy Kraft, who also share the nickname the Freeway Killer.
The tool killers.
So how funny is it? Like, it's like a full circle moment.
So think about that. Okay. If it's one thing to find a serial killer. 90% of the time they work alone. But to find somebody else that has the same mindset, because he had an accomplice, maybe
Mhm.
more. To find somebody that has that mindset that you do,
Yeah.
to want to do those particular things. One is, I mean, that blows my mind. The statistics have to be so astronomically low that,
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, how many people say, occasionally a couple of people, hey, let's go kill this dude. And they do.
Mhm.
But how many times did they go, hey, let's go kill this dude? Oh, wait a minute. Let's go kill this dude. Oh, wait a minute. We'll just start killing everybody.
Right.
And to not only have but one accomplice, but even possibly more,
Mhm.
to have that same mindset. So now that this guy's in prison, he's in prison with two other serial killers that were
Serial
together.
killers that also go by the nickname the Freeway Killer.
Freeway, that's right. And if I'm right, if Ed Kemper went to a Tuscadero home for boys, that is within a lifetime
Yeah.
4 serial killers that you know of. Well, actually 5 with the accomplice,
Mhm.
and possibly another 3 or 4 more accomplices. What are the odds of all this coming together from the boys' home to the prison?
Right. It's
That many
crazy.
serial killers were in each other's presence.
Mhm. And not only just in their presence, but, like, they found each other and they became friends. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bonin, he never found his people. He never found his group until he started killing. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, this is why I never found my people, because I'm weird and these other people are weird too." Not only just weird, like, weird's one thing, but, like, a psychopath.
I bet they
I'm a
compared notes.
psychopath, and these people are psychopaths too.
Yeah. So we get along.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't imagine what the talk out in the yard was like. You
Right.
know, it's like, hey, I had this one dude in the van. You know, the other ones were like, well, we had this one dude in the van over here. You know,
Well,
it's
I didn't have a van. I had this really cool um car, or I'm thinking of
yeah.
the a car with that's real long in the back. What are those called?
There was
Something
several of
wagon.
them in the
Something
'70s and
wagon.
station wagon.
Station wagon. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
yeah.
Well, I had this cool station wagon.
Yeah,
You had a
and this
van, but
we had
my
this girl tied up in it, and you know, blah blah
yeah,
blah. It's
yeah,
well, I had this van, and this dude was tied up in it. Well, how did you get caught? Well, the police beat our window in and come on in. And, you know, how did you get caught? It's just like
right.
would be normal talk with them
What
people,
would
you
the
know.
conversations be like? Yeah.
And it just it I've always thought, you know, even you know, just anytime I hear about a serial killer and an accomplice, it's kind
Mhm.
of like Bonnie and Clyde. You know, Clyde Barrow was already a, a notorious bank robber, murderer, and he got hooked up with Bonnie. And at
Mhm.
what point did she say, "Give me a gun. I'm with you,
Right.
bro"?
Yeah.
You know, for them two people throughout the entire United States found each other and created mass chaos. So it's with a serial killer finding someone else who has the same mindset, who has the same broken compass inside them,
Mhm.
or sexually driven, whatever, for those two people to find each other and say, "Hey, that's a great idea. Let's you know pick up young hitchhiking boys and have our way with them, and then we'll just kill them and then go on to the next."
Yeah.
And it's not like it went on for years. It was like, hey, well, one a month or maybe
Right.
more. You know,
More, yeah.
um,
1 to 2 a month.
yeah. And if that guy wouldn't have got caught, he could have been up into the hundreds.
Yeah. And he actually had a couple different accomplices. So Butts was his number one accomplice. You know, he
Of
helped with
course he was.
nine different ones. Um, he ended up being charged with 9 murders, but he committed suicide before he was ever even sentenced.
Either
And
way, he's
then,
gone.
yep, there was Murrow, I think was is how you pronounce it. Um, he was actually his boss. He worked for him. And he was
Wow.
sentenced to 15 years to life for
I need
second
this day
degree
off to
murder.
go kill somebody. Oh, really? You need some company? You know,
Right, you need some
how does that
company? We'll
work?
both just take the day off. He'll be up for parole, in 2029. So he's been in prison all this time for second degree murder. I think he only helped with one of the murders. And then there was Miley, the guy with the Greg Miley, the one with the low IQ.
Yeah.
He also helped, and he got sentenced to 25 to life. And he died in 2016 at a state prison. He was attacked by a couple of inmates, and he ended up succumbing to his injuries.
Well,
So that's pretty
well,
much the story. Now,
and
he was, you know, he got sentenced to death, and he was the first person to ever be executed by lethal injection in the state of California, ever.
okay.
And he was on death row for I think 14 years. He ended up, I guess, dying on death row in 1996,
So
February
they didn't get to
23rd,
kill him.
1990.
He died of
They
natural
no,
cause.
no, they killed him.
They did. Okay.
They did, yep,
Good. Good.
yep.
Good.
1996, and like I said, he was um, the first person to ever die by lethal injection. Before that, I think it was always by gas. But then around this time, they're thinking, this isn't
Too cruel.
moral. This is cruel
Whatever.
and unusual punishment. So that's when they switched over to lethal injection, and he
And
was
you
the
know
first
what's
person.
crazy is when you get lethal injection like that, they use alcohol swabs on you.
That is kind of crazy.
That's
They
a
also
waste
probably
of
use,
taxpayers' money.
and they use a brand new needle, all the
Yeah.
things. They ought
No.
to
So
use a rusty, crusty,
make it
um,
hurt.
blunt needle that you have
Yes.
to
You know what
literally
that would be like.
stab.
I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
draw labs all day long. So, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
make it hurt.
Exactly. I agree. The biggest needle
So,
you can find at
yeah.
that. Right into
So,
the artery.
an interesting, unrelated fact I seen where John David Chapman, who killed John Lennon, was up for parole and was denied again for the 14th time.
Oh my goodness.
So he'll never see the light of day outside of
Oh
prison, I don't think.
no. Oh no.
Just because of the heinous part of it. I mean, he just
Hmm.
asked him to sign an autograph, and as he was signing it, he just shot him.
Yeah.
So, but I do want
Crazy.
to mention Charlie Kirk, who was brutally murdered. I'm sure everybody knows about it by now, and probably some have seen the video. The video is brutal. I warn you now, if you want to see it, I'm sure it's out there, but be prepared to see something you probably don't want to see because it's brutal. But our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And I mean, the people that were there that saw that with their own eyes,
Traumatizing.
that's something that, they're not going to get out of their head tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So, and the young girl that was killed in North Carolina by that coward and by the judges of North Carolina that let that coward out of prison or kept him from prison. Blood's on your hands. All of you, blood's on your hands. So, but with that, Brenda was a good one.
Yeah. I thought it
Abby,
was a good one.
wherever you're at, you missed it.
I think Abby is probably really enjoying herself right now.
I would
She's
say.
probably, first of all, she's probably snoozing.
Oh, absolutely.
She probably had a really long day,
I'm sure.
relaxing on
Sunburnt.
the beach.
She's sunburnt.
Relaxing on the beach while we spent our day at work.
Yes.
Shame on her for
Listen,
thinking that she can go out and have fun without us.
for real, man. I mean, what's that all about? Listen, whatever you do, Ab, don't hitchhike anywhere.
No, never. Never ever. Give me a call. I'll come get you.
That's right. All the way down to wherever beach she's at.
That's
So,
right.
but yeah, that's what was a good one. And listen, there's another set of freeway killers out there to be done. So
It's true. That's true.
the serial killer saga is endless.
It really is.
It really is. I mean,
Mhm.
especially in the late 60s and 70s and even in the 80s.
In the 80s.
California was the serial killer capital.
Mhm.
But there's just so many of them that we'll never get through them all. We'll be dead before we get through them all.
Oh, yeah. I definitely would never want to live in California in that time period.
I don't, well, even today, I mean, think of the serial killers that are out there that they don't know about yet.
Mhm.
And,
I feel like they probably have to be a lot more sneaky in
with
today's time.
DNA, yeah,
Yes.
DNA,
Yes.
you can't escape.
Mm-mm.
No, it's you or it ain't. It's that
Yep.
simple. So, all right. With that, guys, be sure to check us out, nighthawk-radio.com. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook page, all under Nighthawk Radio. Look up Rumble, Nighthawk Radio, one word. Be sure to check this show out every Thursday at 7, Awakening Radio Sundays at 7, In Dark Places Monday at 8. Oh, no, Monday at 7. 6. Monday at 6. I'll get it right. So with that, guys, that's it. You have got the Freeway Killer in the book. Seth, man, take us home.
All right, man. Tonight I'm not gonna give no goofy ending or something. I just want to say my prayers go out to Charlie Kirk's family, everybody that's affected by the tragedy. Everybody have a good night and God bless.